right, YouTube. It is Mr. Mean coming at you this fine Sunday afternoon about 3 p.m. Sunday, October 25th. I hope everyone's doing well. I've had a great weekend. We had to cancel the Conan game this Friday night due to a couple of my players being sick and under the weather. So it is what it is. But we got some exciting stuff coming up. So stay tuned to the video where I do all my announcements. There'll be a slight pause and then I'll jump into that. So kind of the new format we're going with here, and it makes it a lot easier because I'm doing it on my Mac, and it's nice because I can do all the effects with iMovie and everything. So today's video du jour is what to do when your game is canceled. For me, it is a big deal to make the gaming group a habit. It's so easy in our busy lives to just say, screw it, and not do anything and sit at home and vegetate, or and of course spending time with family and close friends and your children or whatever is always top priority. But I feel when you make a gaming commitment, it's just that you've made a gaming commitment, and so we should do our best to honor those commitments. And especially as a longtime GM, that is my most egregious pet peeve, is when people cancel and then one player will legitimately be sick, and so you say, oh, okay, well, Bob's sick, and then everyone's like, oh, well, I'm going to cancel. I can't make it. Well, why can't you make it? And it's laziness. It happens to us all, and let's face it, gamers are really in that category of we flake a lot and stuff. There's a lot of us that don't. I try to be one of those that doesn't. I'm in a Friday night or a Sunday night D&D game that my good friend Brian runs. I'm not a huge D&D fan. I play it for the camaraderie of my friends Brian, BK, and Adam, and Matt now, who's I didn't know Matt before the game, so hi Matt. But it's just fun playing with those guys, and while I'm not a big fan of D&D 5th edition, I do enjoy hanging out with those people, and Brian tells a good story, so I'm willing to look past the rules in order to play a fun game. But what do you do when you don't have another game ready, or maybe it's your GM that bails? Well, we're gamers. We spend a lot of money on our hobby. Maybe not so much. I spend a lot on my hobby. So I always like to have a backup. So even though one or two of my players may be out, I like to say, hey, let's still get together. Let's keep the group together. Let's make it it's still scheduled as game night. So let's get together and do something. Well, what do you do? Well, we were going to have a player out, and so I was going to run Conan as a backup game because none of these guys have played Conan, and I wanted to introduce them to it. And since Mutant Chronicles was a huge hit and they liked the game, one of the things that everyone said is they liked the game mechanics, the 2D20 system. So I'm like, well, if you love that, have I got a game for you? And I was going to run Conan, but unfortunately, like I said, we just decided to cancel it because too many people were out sick, and I think it would have been me and one other guy. And well, yeah, we could have done a board game night, and that's what leads me to today's video du jour, is what to do if you don't have a secondary campaign prepped, or you don't have another game that you're prepared to run. There's GMs are a fickle lot. They come in all flavors and sizes, as the old saying goes, and like, I'm lucky enough to be experienced to be able to run just about anything. Especially if it's a system that's in my wheelhouse, like 2D20. I can run Star Trek, or I can run Conan and everything in between because I know the system quite well, so I'm okay with it. But not every GM's like that. Some GMs have only ever played Pathfinder, or they only ever, not played but GM'd. They've only ever GM'd D&D, so to have a backup game ready is not always easy and or convenient. And so that's where I think the wonderful world of like card and or board games comes into play. And I one of my all-time favorites here is Star Frontiers, or Star Realms. Star Frontiers, that's an RPG by TSR. Star Realms, really great card game. This is the little box that you could buy, and it comes with a whole bunch of cards. I'm just going to try to pull out a couple cards here. Obviously not very well prepared. Wife and kid are napping right now, so there's the back of the cards. They're in sleeves. And then you have your ship, you have all your resources and everything that you play with. If you've never seen Star Realms, it's a deck building game. I think it's a really good one. I like it a lot. I highly recommend it. It's great for 2-player or 4-player or 3-player. And like I said, you can go. I got this off of Amazon. I bought the game itself. I can't remember the name of White Wizard Games, and they make a fantasy one too, Fantasy Realms, which is very similar to this. And this is a great game, guys. It's quick, easy to play. Your kids can play it. So if you want to learn the game and figure it out, maybe play it with your kids. And then when the gaming group comes over, or the GM or too many of the players cancel and you can't move forward with your ongoing campaign for whatever game you're running, something like Star Realms is a great alternative. Any board game actually is really good if everyone's into it or is willing to play it. And like I said, I've done it a number of times. And then I was in Target the other day and I saw this, Here to Slay, and I've only opened it and looked at it, but it is a card game. It's non-collectible, and it's suitable for, let's see, does it say? 2 to 6 players, 30 to 60 minutes to play, ages 10 and up. So probably if you got an 8-year-old, if they can read, stuff like that, they should be okay with this. But it's a dungeon slayer, and I just picked it up. I haven't even learned to play it. We're taking a trip at the end of November, so I'm probably going to bring it with me to play with some of my friends down in Louisiana when we're down there. So these are just some of the things. This comes with, just a bunch of cards. I don't believe it has dice. It's made by Unstable Unicorns, which I thought was a really cool name. And really, I can't get my shit together today, guys. Real simple, rule book. It is literally front and back, and it's just a bunch of cards. And it's still shrink wrapped. You can see I haven't even, taken them out of the shrink wrap. But I thought the art was kind of cute. Comes with 2 6-sider dice, 2d6s. And that's it, man. And it looks like a super easy game to play. I'm really looking forward to getting it on the table and playing it with my friends over the long holiday weekend of Thanksgiving, which is when I'll be down in Louisiana visiting my in-laws. We are super stoked. We're taking a train ride, so a lot of time for 31 hours. So I'll probably bring Star Realms with us so me and the wife can play, because she does like that game, and we'll play that. So just wanted to, say, for your gaming group, don't cancel just because some of your players have bailed. Keep the group alive. Keep, the old saying goes, if you do anything more than 3 or 4 times, it becomes habit. Make your game night a habit. It'll get your players used to meeting. Those excuses will become few and far between. And just make it as engaging and as fun as you can, which is obviously the reason why we get together to play these games, whether it be board games, dice games, card games, role-playing games, whatever it may be. We get together to play them for the camaraderie and to tell a good story, or just to hang out with our friends. I have some players that all they want to do is chuck dice and kill things, and then I have some players that really like the story. They like to see where the game is going and how things interact and how it affects them and their character. So, play to your audience, as the old saying goes, and but keep a couple of these board games handy, or card games, dice games, whatever. Keep them handy, so that you can all get together and you can still do something as a group. I think that's very important, to keep that group cohesiveness together, as the saying goes. So I just wanted to put out a real quick video. The second part of this video will be going over some Kickstarter stuff and some other things that I wanted to talk about. But this was just a real quick video to, what to do. It came to mind just because my gaming group fell apart on Friday night because 2 of my players were sick, and then another player wasn't going to be available. So we were like, oh, well, we only have four guys in the group, and one of them's a father-son group. So if they're out, that's half my group right there. So just keep it in mind, look for that odd board game that you think your group might like, or card game, or whatever it may be, something alternative to do, so that if 1 or 2 of your guys calls out sick or can't make it or whatever, maybe you can still get the group together and play something fun, and still keep that cohesiveness together, and remind everybody that, hey, it's Friday night, Saturday night, whatever night your game night is on, this is what we do. And hopefully everybody will keep that in mind. And, I've seen groups fall apart because someone calls in sick. or can't make it for 2 weeks or whatever, and then it just falls apart because nothing's holding it together. I'm fortunate enough to have a group that really looks forward to Friday night, and they just want to play, and they're like, we don't care what you run, just run something. So I'm kind of lucky in that aspect, but not everybody is. So you might have to have something like Dominion, a really cool deck building game, or Here to Slay, or Star Realms, or whatever, Pokemon, whatever. Have it in the wings, ready to go, just in case your group falls apart for that night. You can still get the guys together, and Magic. Magic's a great one. A lot of people haven't played Magic in years, so you just buy a couple cheap decks or whatever, and say, hey, if half the group can't make it, we're still going to get together. We're going to play Magic. If everyone's into Magic or used to be into Magic, it works out really well, and it's a little nostalgia as well, or whatever board card game, alternate RPG, whatever. Just keep the group together. It goes a long way to keeping that cohesiveness and keeping it fresh in everybody's mind that, oh yeah, I've got something to do on Friday night or whatever night your game night is on. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna pause the video here, and then I'm going to go into my shout-outs and everything, and then talk about some Kickstarter stuff. So if you're interested in that stuff, you can hang out after the pause and come back and join us. Other than that, thanks for watching. As always, like and subscribe. And just remember, Mr. Mean says... All right, YouTube, you've made it to the second part of the video of Mr. Mean Speaks. I just wanted to go over a couple of things. One was a quick shout out for next weekend, next Friday, Saturday, is the GRC Halloween convention for Gulf, let me get it right here, Gulf Role-Playing Community. They're a Middle Eastern community, but they're all over the world. Andy Staples, bigwig behind Chivalry and Sorcery and a bunch of other games. He's always editing and writing. He's a super awesome guy. You might have seen him in my Simba Room one-shot that I did with a lot of the guys from the GRC. Nasser Super Beast is he's the big guy behind that. He's one of my subscribers, and I believe he's a Patreon. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure he is. I can't remember right now. But anyway, he's gone a long way to put me in touch with these guys and get me in the GRC to run a demo game of Simba Room. So next Saturday, I'll be running a one-shot introduction to Simba Room, and it's on the website there. You can go and sign up for it. It's free, doesn't cost anything, and it's just it's going to be a fun little Halloween con. So Saturday night, I believe it's Saturday evening at 6 p.m. is when I'm running, but check the website. I'll put a link down in the doobly-doos. So a big shout out to all the guys over at GRC. Super awesome organization that's doing some really great things in the gaming community over there in the Middle East. So Nasser, big shout out to you, sir. Thank you for all your love and support. I appreciate it, man. You are a pillar in the community and a super awesome guy. So go show those guys some love. Tell them Mr. Mean sent you. Go sign up for some games. There's some D&D games. There's some, I believe there's a Deadlands game, and there's going to be some other games there. So go check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be, obviously there's a horror game. I believe there's a Call of Cthulhu. They're going to do a couple of panels, so you can sit in on those. I think they're doing it via Zoom or Discord. So check it out. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to try to sit in on some of them myself. So I'm very excited about that. The other big news I got, and not big news, but it's cool for me, is there was a Kickstarter called Lowlife. Let's see, what was it? Let's see here. Bear with me here. Lowlife 2090, which was a 5th edition conversion of Cyberpunk for D&D. Now, you guys have heard me many times on the channel say that I am not a 5th edition fan, but I love Esper Genesis. I think Esper Genesis is such a fresh take, and the mechanics really flow. It works really well for that setting. There's no space dwarves. There's no space elves. They've done a really bang-up job of making a fun game using the 5th edition framework. And so I did... Carbon 2185 or Carbon whatever it was that I backed as a 5th edition, and I really felt hornswoggled, and by that I mean they put on a glossy veneer, but when you opened it up it was rotten on the inside, and I really hate to say that because I had such high hopes for the game, The preview that they sent out was not what they delivered. There was very sparse art, and I hate to say it, and I know art is so expensive for role-playing games, but art's what sells the books. You got to have decent art in there if you want it to take off, and you got to have strong support. And I think they did have strong support. I just think they were lacking in their art area, and the rules weren't as clean as they could have been. One of the things, Alligator Alley, that did Esper Genesis, I'm not a big fan of the company because I believe the players, it's been like 3 years now, and they're still waiting on the GM book. In the meantime, the company, the guy behind Alligator Alley, has been pumping out scenarios and other product for Esper Genesis, but yet still hasn't delivered on the 3 core books. It was supposed to be the player's book, which is the Esper Genesis book, the threats analysis, which is basically the monster manual, which just came out a couple months ago. And I haven't seen it yet, but I hear it's gorgeous, so kudos to them for getting it out, but it's a day late and $1 short. I refuse to put any more money into the game just because I feel like you let me down. And to be honest, all I need really is the free threats analysis that they put out and the core book, and I can run the game. And I've run it once or twice. I've enjoyed it. It's a really good interpretation of the 5e rules. Unfortunately, I feel the company let its fan base down, and I'm a fan. I vote with my dollars, so I'm not going to support the company. Same way with Carbon. The book was lackluster. The mechanics they just weren't there. I mean, at least Esper Genesis had solid mechanics that really worked. I mean, there's some goofy things in it, but nothing that you couldn't overcome. And for me, it worked. Carbon just didn't work. I read it, and I tried to make a character, and I just didn't feel it. It's a no-buy in my book. I mean, I own the book. I backed the Kickstarter, so I'm stuck with the book, but I think it's in a box already. I already boxed it up so I can make room on my gaming shelf for the books that I want to look at every day. Carbon 2185 or whatever it is not one of the ones I want to look at. So that's sad. So then somebody pointed me to Lowlife 2090, and I started looking at it, and I went, wow, so this is basically Shadowrun done with D&D, which we've seen 1,000,001 conversions and fan made games in that genre. Shadowrun is a diverse, awesome universe, but I hate the mechanics. And every time I buy the new edition, I keep hoping it'll be different, and it never is. It's the same thing, and I don't like it. It's a D6 game where you roll a crap ton of D6s, and everything takes 2 hours to figure out. It's got the slowest combat system of any RPG I've ever played, except maybe for Harn. Harn was pretty drawn out too. But Harn's also 30 years old, so I cut Harn a little slack. So Shadowrun, though. Shadowrun's just as old. Anyway, that's not the point of this ramble. The point is that I was very let down with the new iterations of Shadowrun, and I've always been looking for a good cyberpunk RPG, whether it be whatever rule set. And so then I saw Lowlife, and I went, wow, this has got a deep, gritty feel. The art looks it's Lowlife, and it looks really good from what they posted. Now, granted, Carbon did the same thing, and some would say, well, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Am I going to get fooled a second time? I don't think so, and the reason being, customer support has a long way to go with role-playing games, especially in this environment where we vote with our dollars. And I reached out to them because I got a bunch of emails today saying, oh, your Lowlife fantasy stuff is all ready. You can buy your books at cost, and I had a bunch of credit on DriveThruRPG, so it didn't cost me any money out of pocket. And so I went and ordered the books, and then I went, wait a minute, Lowlife. I don't remember backing Lowlife Fantasy, but what happened is when I was looking at the Kickstarter for Lowlife 2090, Lowlife 2090, I backed the Lowlife Fantasy Gaming Bundle instead of the Lowlife 2090 bundle. So that was my mistake. I made a mistake. It wasn't anything and Pickpocket Press was just saying, hey, if you like this game, we've done a lot with Lowlife Fantasy, check it out. And so I wasn't paying attention, and I clicked the wrong thing. And it was a nominal Kickstarter. It didn't cost me a whole lot. I think it was like $20-$30. And, the Kickstarter got backed, and so they sent me my PDF, or they sent me my links from Drive-Thru RPG for all the Kickstarter stuff, and I went, ooh, wow, cool. And I'm going, this is not Cyberpunk. This is not Shadowrun. This is fantasy. And I'm like, did I back the wrong thing? So I went back and I looked, and sure enough, I backed the wrong thing. I looked at my reward level, and I was like, I backed the Lowlife bundle for fantasy, which was cool that they had it in there so they could say, hey, if you didn't get it on the first go round, here's your chance. So in a way, I did luck out. It all worked out. So I emailed them, and here's exactly what I said. I said, hi all, I am confused, which is really not that hard. I wanted to back Lowlife 2090 Cyberpunk RPG, but I just got a bunch of PDFs for low fantasy gaming, ? Which is cool. I plan to do a full review on my YouTube channel, Mr. Mean Speaks, John Polak. But did I make a boo-boo and not back the right level? I really wanted the Lowlife 2090 books. So Steve over at Lowlife just sent me a rebuttal, and he says, no worries. Yes, you backed the bunch of Lowlife fantasy gaming books reward, but I'll add you to the Lowlife 2090 list so you'll get that PDF and print at cost code as well. Unfortunately, the Lowlife 2090 draft is delayed until November, but I'll post that up on Kickstarter tonight. So he's going to make a post, and I think he already did, as this is it's 3:30 my time now, and I think I got this about an hour ago. So he may have already posted it. But, I mean, what awesome customer service. I mean, he's going to include me, and the way they did this Kickstarter is they did a little bit of money to back the product, and then they're going to send you the print-on-demand codes from Drive-Thru RPG so that you just pay the difference between what it would cost them to get it printed, and then Drive-Thru RPG ships it to you, which is phenomenal. And I've done a review on some of the Drive-Thru RPG print-on-demand books, and I really I've had one or two minor problems, but they've always made it right. I can't complain. Is it as good as buying a fully produced book, from like D&D? No, but it's real darn close. It's real close. The quality is usually pretty solid. So I paid for the print deluxe, so I'm going to get the Lowlife fantasy books, and then of course when the 2090 books for Lowlife come out for the Cyberpunk version or Shadowrun, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna get those, obviously, because that's really what I wanted. But I'm excited to give this Lowlife fantasy a check, because I don't know anything about it. I've never heard about it. So if you guys have heard about it, let me know. I'm pretty excited to see it, and just see where it goes from there. So aside from that, just a big thank you to Steve over at Pickpocket Games, or Pickpocket Press, for just answering really quickly and being so cool about everything. That's very nice of him. And of course, I will give my full unbiased review of Lowlife, Low Fantasy, and of course Lowlife 2090. Those will definitely get full reviews on the channel. I have a review of Black Void coming as well. I'm very excited. I don't get my book until earlier next week. Today's Sunday, so around Monday or Tuesday, hopefully. At the latest, I'll get it on Wednesday, when our facilities manager comes to pick up our stuff. Because it went to my work mail, because we have porch pirates here for whatever reason. I don't feel like getting my stuff stolen again, because that just annoys me. But on that note, between last week and this week, the videos I've done, we've gotten one new subscriber. So Kenny Rodriguez, a huge shout out to you. Thank you, sir, for joining the channel. And as always, if there's anything you want to see or anything you want to talk about or whatever, just hit me up. I'm on Discord. I'm also on Patreon. You guys, $5 a month gets you a special designator color on Patreon. Lets everybody else know that you are a Patreon supporter of Mr. Mean. It's only $5, but it goes a long way and helps out the channel. So thank you guys very much. If you can find it to support the channel, that is great. When I think when I get up to 20 subscribers, I'm going to open up the merchandise store where you'll be able to get the Mr. Mean logo that you can get on coffee cups and mouse pads and all that stuff. But the other cool thing is we're up to 770 subscribers, and that's thanks to you guys. As I always say, there is no me without you, and it's you guys make it awesome. So I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. I do this for fun. Like I said, I don't have a whole lot of financial gain out of this. I literally do it for fun. The little bit of money I do make off the channel goes right back into the channel. So that's really about it, guys. I'm on, I should say I'm on ZellyPay, banked into your local banking institution. I'm on PayPal, PayMe, John Polak. And of course, like I said, Patreon, and of course, like and share this video, and then hit me up on Discord. There's a link on my YouTube page. Let me know if you can't get to it. You can always email me at jpolack, POLACK, @gmail.com. Love to chat with you. I'm on Discord 90% of the time, and sometimes we get some pretty good discussions going there. So pop on over. I also do giveaways every once in a while when I get extra books or whatever. I like to send them out to my Patreons, get first dibs on it. And then after that, I just randomly choose somebody off my subscribers list. So, as always, peace and hair grease. Mr. Mean says, be nice, love your fellow man, wear your mask when you're out in public. Let's do our community service and stay social distancing until we find a cure for this crazy pandemic. And keep gaming. Guys, it helps keep our sanity. It's a lot of fun. Keeps those mental cogs flowing, whatever that means. And always like and subscribe. And Mr. Mean says,